The 10 Darkest Secrets Disneyland Princesses Have to Keep. Wait, did we just use the word dark in the same sentence as Disneyland? The same Disneyland that's a magical, exciting place of wonders for both kids and adults alike? Well, for the princesses employed there, work can be pretty nightmarish. For people who walk around an amusement park for a living, being a Disneyland princess is no walk in the park. Are you ready to know what their life is really like? Then keep on watching. But before we put a damper on all the magic and wonder, hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications to be the first to see all of our updates. Number 10. They can't break character. This one might seem kind of obvious, but it's still worth mentioning. After the joyful moment when you've finally been chosen to be a Disneyland princess, you don't just start working right away. Before anything else, you go through a few weeks of character training. Even if you've seen all the cartoons with your character thousands of times since you were a kid, you've got to go through this step. You should be ready to answer any questions you might get asked. Plus, you shouldn't just look like your character, which can be achieved easily through the right costume and makeup. You should walk, talk, and act exactly like them too. Disneyland princesses also aren't allowed to reference any characters that aren't a part of their story, and they can't show that they know anything about life outside of the Disney World. All of this is done to make you feel like you're really meeting and hanging out with your favorite princess, making the experience even more marvelous and believable. Number 9. They can't have tattoos. Tattoos are such a popular thing to have these days that you'd think this rule would have stayed in the past. And even though I personally would love to see a BA-looking Ariel rocking some tattoos, Disneyland's current policy wouldn't allow it. Disney's website gives more details on the no-ink rule for their park employees, explaining that tattoos must only be done with the use of clothing or makeup when required for a character. As you can probably guess, any sort of body piercing, gauges, and disfiguring skin implants are forbidden as well. Of course, these rules apply to every Disney World worker, not just the princesses. Man, they should at least do one day where everybody gets a punk at it, don't you think? Number 8. They can't choose what princess they're gonna be. The audition process for becoming a Disneyland princess is incredibly complex and difficult. The most upsetting thing of all is that you can't even choose which princess to audition for. If you want to be a Disney princess, you have to do an open audition for any Disney World role, including princes, princesses, animal characters, and parade performers. One former Disneyland princess confessed that the audition process can take up to 8 hours and starts with grouping people based on their height, which should be between 5'3" and 5'7", body type, and appearance. Candidates then get eliminated based on what roles need to be filled, and the elimination process is pretty tough. One former Disneyland worker recounted how out of 500 girls who auditioned one year, only 3 were hired for a job. Plus, Disneyland looks for different princesses at different times, and that's why some people have to audition multiple times to get the part. You could make the perfect Cinderella, but won't get chosen because they're looking for a Belle. Plus, a person can only audition once a year, so it's not uncommon when an individual can't get the job for years. They definitely have more patience than I do. Number 7. They train to sign autographs. A lot of parents get their kids a special book for their trip to Disneyland so that they can get an autograph and a picture with their all-time favorite Disney princess. And Disney World is serious about making this experience as unforgettable and real as possible. All Disneyland princesses have to go through autograph training so that every signature looks the same. Another thing is that there's always more than one of each princess in the same park. But don't worry, Disney World has several protocols to make sure that the same princesses are never within close proximity to each other. Still, to make it look and feel like the real deal, they all should look very much alike and give the same character's autograph. So if you got an autograph yesterday and your friend got one 5 years ago, you can be sure that they're identical. Number 6. They can't post about their job on social media. Imagine becoming a Disneyland princess and putting your costume on for the very first time. Wouldn't you want to snap a pic and show all your friends and family on social media? Well, when you're an actual Disneyland princess, you can't do that. Disney has a sort of oath of confidentiality. That includes strict rules about their employees' social media accounts. To put it short, when you work at Disney World, you can't post anything related to your job, snap funny or fascinating behind-the-scenes photos, or even reveal what character you portray. It sounds pretty harsh, but if you think about it, it would kinda ruin the magic if you see these fairy tale princesses being just normal people. Of course, we know they're actresses, but we still want to believe the illusion, right? Do you agree with this rule? Or would seeing all the backstage stuff not be a big deal to you? Let us know in the comments. Number 5. They have code words for emergencies. Even though Disney World is supposed to be a magical place where dreams come true, it is still an amusement park after all. So of course emergencies do happen, especially in a place filled with excited children. Some kids actually pee themselves or feel sick, for instance. But as we've already mentioned, Disneyland characters, including princesses, aren't allowed to break character no matter what, and that includes during emergencies. That's why Disney came up with a set of secret codes they can use instead of shouting for help and drawing attention to the incident, turning the best day of a child's life into one of the most embarrassing moments ever. The most frequently used codes are Code V for throwing up and Code U for bathroom incidents. Number 4. They must point with 2 fingers. All Disneyland princesses have to point using 2 fingers. Seems kind of random and unnecessary, right? But there's a good explanation for it. Disney World is a massive park visited each day by tons of people from different cultures around the world. And in the happiest place on earth, everyone should feel included. Pointing with 1 finger is actually considered a really rude and offensive gesture in China, Japan, Indonesia, and Latin America. That's why if you ask any Disneyland princess to help you find something, she'll point you in the right direction with 2 fingers. This way of pointing is also very helpful for little kids to see what exactly is being pointed out. Even the iconic partner statue you'll find at the Magic Kingdom shows Walt Disney holding Mickey Mouse's hand with one of his and pointing off to the distance with the other. And yes, he's using the 2-finger point. It's little details like this that make the whole picture perfect. Number 3. They have to pick up garbage. Well, that doesn't sound very princess-like. Hey, in this case, Disney's policy is equal for everybody. All employees, including princesses, must pick up any trash or litter they see on the ground. The princesses do have their own special requirement though. They shouldn't bend over or squat down to pick something up. The graceful and princess way to do it is to just swoop and scoop. Maybe seeing all the responsible Disneyland characters picking up trash in the park will teach the ones who litter to respect this beautiful place and throw the garbage in the bins themselves. If only. Number 2. Their job can be dangerous. What could possibly go wrong when you work as a Disneyland princess? Believe it or not, this fairy tale-like career can be quite unsafe. It's mostly because of those amazing costumes we see. They might look outstanding, but wearing them is anything but comfortable. According to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, character performers across the 4 parks that make up the Walt Disney World reported 773 total injuries in 2005. And while 49 of them were the result of costume heads, an astounding 107 of the total numbers of injuries happened because of pushing, pulling, and other forms of aggression coming from guests. It's also not uncommon for princesses to have broken knees or dislocated shoulders caused by the weight of the wire frame under their gorgeous gowns. So all the princesses you see in the park definitely aren't as dainty as you think. Number 1. They have no job security. Getting a job at Disneyland is hard enough, but keeping it can be even more challenging. Nobody knows how long they'll be able to maintain their dream Disneyland position. The age restrictions can be quite harsh, and princesses usually retire at 27 years old. But this isn't the only factor that can cost them their job. Disneyland princesses also have clickers to keep track of the visitors they interact with each hour. And if this number is less than 172 people, which is about 30 seconds per guest, a princess will get reprimanded and can even lose her job. Another important fact is that each Disneyland cast member has to re-audition every 6 months to prove they're still living up to Disney's expectations. If a princess's body dramatically changes, or her skin starts breaking out all of a sudden, she can easily lose her job. So being a Disneyland princess is anything but a fairy tale lifestyle. Which of these rules surprised you the most? If you were a Disney prince, princess, or any character for that matter, which one would you be? Tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to give us a like and click that subscribe button to stay on the bright side of life.